This is Consumer Friend.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Consumer Friend podcast, your go-to for all things consumer rights, tips and tricks for protecting yourself in today's fast-paced world. I'm your host, Adam Carter, and as always, I'm here with brilliant Louise Baxter, aka LouBax. Hi Lou, how are you?
I've got a cold, but apart from that, I'm not going to moan about it for the whole podcast, though, just so you know, because you wouldn't allow that.
So I've put in here, Louise will say something about gardening or the temperature.
It's not. The temperature's fine.
Yes.
The temperature's fine, and I haven't done any gardening because I've been playing sport all weekend because I'm so sporty and so athletic and so young.
Okay, you're none of those, actually. I was going to say neither of those, but you're none of those. But good effort for trying.
Yeah, to try. I always get like an A for enthusiasm, always.
Yeah. We've got a really, really fun podcast lined up today. As you know, season 4 sees us bringing in kind of industry experts to dive deep into the issues we talk about on this podcast. And today's guest is a true behavioural and personality expert. Ever felt that you struggle to get your point across, that you feel like no one is understanding what you're trying to say, that you're surrounded by idiots? Is it everyone else, or is it that you are not communicating with them in the right way? We are thrilled to have Vic, the Queen of Behaviours. Vic is an incredible speaker and has years of experience helping businesses understand consumer behaviour. But don't worry, today's episode is all about how we as people can better understand ourselves and make smarter choices. Vic runs Queen of Behaviours, a platform where she teaches businesses how to design better interactions and how to lead effective teams. Vic's mission is simple: help people provide an environment for others and themselves to thrive. Hi, Vic. How are you?
Well, hello, Adam and Lou. Great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much.
I'm excited.
For coming on. Yeah, it's.
I love this stuff. I love it. It's brilliant. This stuff. It's brilliant.
So, Vic, I first met you in 2019. You came into our team to provide some personality profiling on everyone in the team. And it was something called DISC. And it absolutely fascinated me. I answered a few simple questions, and all of a sudden I had my entire personality written on a piece of paper, and it was scary. It was absolutely scary. So I guess let's just start with: who are you? What do you do? And why do you do what you do?
Oh, well, you've just given a great introduction there. So, yeah, I am Vic O'Farrell. I'm the Queen of Behaviours. And I have, for the last 13 years, I've been running this business. And it starts, when we think about our behaviours, if you think of it like a big Spanish onion and all those different layers and impact who we are and why we do say and react the way we do. And at the centre of it, to me, is our personality, because that's one part of our behaviour that doesn't fundamentally change over the years. You know, if you think about our dominant personality style, our strongest style generally stays the same, and the others around, because when it comes to DISC, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, there's like 4 parts of the personality, and it all depends on where it sits on your graph, depends on how much it impacts how you behave. So I say that's at the heart of the Spanish onion, and then we layer everything else on: core values, limiting beliefs, hereditary things, life's experiences, because, you know, we change how we behave based on how people have behaved with us over the years. So, yeah, that's what I do. Why do I do it? I bloody love it, actually. You know, if you find something that you love doing and you get paid for it, I mean, it's a win-win. I don't feel like I'm going to work because I'm going to help people to help themselves and others around them. It's great. I love it.
We did our DISC profiling back in 2019. So shall we just quickly touch on go on, Louise? I know you want to say something. Of course, I love this. Louise's personality profile is going to mean that she interrupts.
But also as well, like, so just backing up what Vic said. So I had mine done in 2019 and again in 2022 for a different job. So I had them done in different things, and Vic did them both, and like they came out exactly the same. And the way that the person, and we'll go into it a little bit more, but the way that it works is it shows you where you are. It's, what is it? Your true self, your external self, and then your self under pressure.
Yes, the DISC profiling system that I use. Yes, your true self is you as you wake up in the morning before anything of the day has impacted you. And then when I send out my links, because I'm generally doing it in a working environment, I say, answer these questions in a working environment, because sometimes you might go, oh, not like that at home, but I am like that at work. And so in order to get a true understanding of what you're like in the working environment, you do that. So some people's profiles don't change at all, but some people's just different parts of the profile will change and be like, oh, well, hold on a minute. You need to work to your best behavioural style. And then, yes, there's a middle graph, which is us under pressure.
I know Louise likes to kind of jump off into the future and into the sunset, leaving everyone behind her. But should we just take this back a notch or two and kind of go, what is... Sorry, Louise, I'm just going to spend the whole podcast taking the piss out of you.
Literally, just dissecting what is amazing personality profile is what you're actually going to do.
So what is the DISC model? What does DISC actually stand for? So it's a personality profiling system, yeah?
Yes, it is, Adam, and you're doing your very greenness of some people might not understand this. We need to take everyone on the journey.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I use the DISC system, which was in 1928, a gentleman called Dr. William Morton Marston. He published his studies of the emotions of normal people. But you could go way back in history to Empedocles and Hippocrates talking about the 4 elements and the 4 fluids that run through your body. There's always been stuff out there about personalities, and there's lots of other profiling tools, and there's lots of more modern day ones. But I love the DISC system because it's simple and easy to understand. So when I came across it when I was doing my coaching qualification with the Coaching Academy, and it was I've done loads of different profiling over the years in my corporate role, but nothing really I love the day, because it was like, oh. But knowing my own personality style, I went off the next day and got distracted by bright shiny things like Lou does, and go, oh no, let's go charging off into the sunset and let's forget all about that. So it looks at 4 different areas of your personality. So DISC stands for dominant, influence, steadiness, and compliance. It's all about how you deal with problems and challenges, how you interact with other people, the pace at which you work, and also what you do with it when it comes to details and rules and regulations. And depending on how that impacts your personality, we just show on a graph, so the D is a red. So some people just talk in colours, but a D is red and it's dominant. Like Lou's got high red because she just wants to go out and solve problems and take over the world. When are you running for Prime Minister, Lou?
Yeah, well, she's the ideal Prime Minister. She's up there with all the greats, Putin, Trump.
Oh, literally.
I'm joking.
And they weren't Prime Minister either.
I'm so sorry. That was so uncalled for. As someone who needs harmony, I shouldn't have said that. I do apologise.
Not just needs harmony. Adam should not be made to work on his own.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of that.
I'm not going to bloody work with you. Keep being mean to me.
But you say that, Adam, up there with all the greats and everyone needs to be red to be Prime Minister. That they don't. If I take you to some Prime Ministers, I'm not sure of the age of who's listening here, but if you look at in Britain here, so yeah, Thatcher was very much a red style personality. That's how she dealt with things. But if you went to someone like Tony Blair, he was very much more the yellow, very much more the fun, the getting out there, doing all of that and being everywhere and just being jolly. And then your green. So greens are much harder, I would say, to read because they become that kind of chameleon and because they're looking out for everyone else and they're great diplomats. So someone like John Major, I would say, was probably green. And then you've got the Gordon Brown. He was probably your ideal kind of blue candidate. So they're very different styles. That's also, both of the different main political parties. And it's not about was one better than the other at leading it, because actually every style brings its own benefits, its own strengths, all of those other great things that make it a leader. And when I'm doing this in the workplace, people go to me, oh, so in order to be a CEO, you need to have a red personality style. I'm like, well, not necessarily. You actually don't. If you take something like, I would say, Virgin, Richard Branson. Now, what we see in the world is probably a very yellow personality style. You know, the Virgin adverts have got Richard Branson in them. It's all about me, and it's very showy and it's very, very much about me. Yet when you look at something successful like Microsoft, where you've got a Bill Gates as the head, Bill Gates is far more reserved, far more task focused, far more blue in the C style of personality. You don't see him. He doesn't need to be in his adverts. He's not all about him. He's all about actually just having a successful organization, and he will surround himself with people who are different to him. And I think that's the big thing for me is when you know your own style. I know. So I'm very, Lou, you're also very yellow as well. You've got red there, but you probably lead with yellow like I do, sunshine yellow. And sometimes I know, and I only do it because this is what I do for a living, and it's the emotional intelligence part of it. It's like, do you know what? Sometimes I need to shut up. Sometimes I need to let other people speak. Sometimes I just need to know not everyone is interested in my stories. But when I'm with someone that's like Lou, who is, I can go and meet Lou for a coffee and we'll sit down, and the next thing we know, it's like, oh my God, we've been here an hour. Right. Yeah. Haven't even got to the point of what we came to meet to talk about. We just spent an hour talking about what was going on in life.
I can spend an hour with Lou and not say a word.
That's because you know your place, Adam.
Brilliant. But also, Vic, we've had the conversation before, haven't we? But also, so, and I'm not saying it like in an arrogant way, but I think I'm quite aware of myself as well, and the need to shut up and that emotional intelligence piece. But sometimes when you meet somebody that's like us, they can grate on us, like somebody that's the same as us. I'm like, oh my God, they're the same as me. That's so irritating. Why?
Vic, it's do you know what I think the part of it is, like, not just with the shutting up bit, so the sunshine yellow, so you've got dominant, problems and challenges, sunshine yellow, all about being influential, and it's all about interacting with other people, but a way to the eyes give themselves away is their storytelling. And so when you're with people, you're in a group of people, and someone starts saying about what they were doing at the weekend, or that they were playing a sport, or they say, the eyes, because they jump in and they take over with a story, generally about themselves, and then don't know when to shut up. And that is the part of the eye that I find irritating. I'm just like, I'm talking, this isn't about you, this is about me. And when I want you to join in, I will stop and let you join in. But eyes don't wait for the gap. Whereas someone like Adam, who's very green, I know you're very green and yellow, so you're very S and I, Adam, but you're more likely to wait and be invited to the conversation. Not like, Adam, now it is your turn to speak, invited, but you'll wait for a gap and join in. You wouldn't talk over people.
On a Teams meeting, I will put my hand up. I'll raise my hand, no matter if I'm with friends or whatever. I will raise my hand and I'll wait for someone to say, Adam, you can speak.
Yeah. And that's just who you are. It's just who you are. I tell you what, actually, when you say in lockdown, so when I was having to run everything on Zoom, I found it exhausting because the outgoings, so the D's and the I's, didn't know that you put your hand up, wait to be invited. No, just unmute. In they come. And
I'm here.
Oh my God, my reserved people are really struggling. So I just used to have to say, like, Lou, can you remute yourself, please? Because I just want to hear from Adam. And that part of running a program was very exhausting online. It's easier in the room because you just don't even make eye contact. You just ignore people and you just spit to the
everything's easier face to face. I think for me, the most fascinating part of it, or the best part of it, was that not only did I have my diagnosis of who I was on a piece of paper staring at me going, wow, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. What it also meant for me, and I think I said this at the last training session that we did with you, was it gave me permission to be me. It meant that I didn't have to try and quash some of the characteristics and the traits that I necessarily, not that I don't like about myself, that I think I need to change, because I can't change them. I need to kind of embrace who I am. And it allowed me to be more me, if that makes sense.
But it probably also allowed you to see the strengths that you bring to a team and not have them shown to you as a weakness, because we get those blind spots. you know, and what we do, oh, Adam, come on, stop seeing everything from everyone else's point of view. Can't you just speed up a bit? Oh, Adam, you know, as opposed to, well, hold on a minute, let's ask Adam what he thinks, because actually he's got value to bring to the team. And everybody has a value. You can't surround yourself in business, especially if you're growing a business, you cannot employ everyone that's like you. And you tend to attract similar styles. So you tend to naturally migrate to people who are similar to you. Actually, even when you were at school, do you remember being at school? We would label people at school, and we shouldn't label people, but you would. I used to label people like, the boffins over there, or the clowns, you know, or the shy ones, or the nerdy ones, or the bullies, you know, and you labelled people, but actually it's just because they were different to me. And I liked hanging out with all the clowns because I was a clown.
Yeah, I mean, Adam and I are still friends with all the kids we went to school with. So, I mean, we pretend that Adam went to school with us, but he didn't actually go to school with us. He went to college with us. But like, there's 13 of us that all went to school together. And actually, that would be really interesting to map out what those people were, Adam. That would be very broad. Can we just summarise just quickly? So I think so D is dominant, I is influencers, S is steadiness, and C is consistent.
Compliant.
I'm not very high on either of those, S or C's.
And also, generally, you will have one that is higher than everything else, but you'll also have a secondary one mainly. Does it work that way?
Yeah, well, you know, you can. It can be 3. So yeah, your strongest style, which is the one that comes up first, but your secondary style could be quite close to it, and it depends. So me, I am a yellow red, but when I'm under pressure, I am a red yellow. So they do change slightly, but you tend to find that, through life, your strongest style is your strongest style. Some people, I do profiles and they've only got one above the line, and that's fine. It's not an issue. There's no right or wrong when it comes to personalities. There's no like, oh, that you're to this and you're to that. It's just actually just recognizing, understanding, and respecting that we're all different. We all bring something to the party. Like I have to surround my pit self. So in the Queen's Council of my business, there's 6 of us, and I've got 2 blues in there because I know I don't do detail. So that's the C, compliant. It's all about rules and regulations, detail. You know, for me, rules and regulations are just merely a suggestion.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Let's see if I can bend it before it breaks.
Completely agree.
But it's things like the detail of getting things correct. You know, I can type proposals out, and because I've typed it, I can't see the typos that I've made. I mean, I used to be what I would call tippity tap tip send on an email. You know, I'd be sending an email or a WhatsApp as they are these days, and as I press send, that's when I read to check for spelling.
Yeah.
Not
every time. Luckily, they've introduced that edit button.
Edit. This has blown my mind. It's like saved my life, actually. The edit function.
But because I do this, and because I have the emotional intelligence of knowing my personality style, I know full well if I'm sending a business proposal, if I'm sending I've been to see someone, I'm now sending the proposal of everything that I do. I have to make sure that everything in that pack is detailed. It's correct, because if somebody is a blue personality style, so if I've got somebody who is C, compliant, and my covering email has got typos in it, they probably will dismiss me as a supplier, even before they've looked at the detail in it, because I'm not being compliant and correct. They're thinking, well, how can I deal with somebody that doesn't have the same standards as them? And they're not sitting there reading it as a blue style, as in thinking, well, I'm blue and therefore it's all got to be correct. They're just reading it as they would consume it.
So this is where it comes in when I said in the introduction around being surrounded by idiots. So I mentioned to you before we started the podcast that I've been reading a book called Surrounded by Idiots, and it was quite controversial apparently when it first came out. That talks about the fact that you're not surrounded by idiots, you're just surrounded by people that think differently to you, and that's a great thing.
Yeah. It is. And like I say, it's all about recognizing, understanding, respecting that we're all different. You know, if I wanted to do something where I needed to get everybody involved and I just want to know what everyone's thought process is about it, it might, you know, that's the kind of thing I'd say, Adam, I know that you're really good at getting the best out of others, so can you go in and do this bit of research with the team? Whereas if I needed somebody to go and basically kick some butt and maybe make some tough decisions, I'd be like, Lou, some tough decisions need to be made, and this message has got to be delivered and on point. Can you be delivering that for me?
The benefits of people knowing about the other people's traits, characteristics within teams, even in personal life, is there kind of there to see. It can really help teams communicate better with everyone around them if they understand how best to communicate with those people, right?
It's self-awareness, though, Ads, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like being aware of yourself and just going, oh, they might not like that.
I just want to just quickly mention the third paragraph in Louise's bio for her disc profile.
Oh, Adam.
Louise is often viewed by others as overconfident or conceited. Louise may appear aggressive, especially when communicating with people who like to pay attention to all the fine points. Louise is optimistic and tends to overestimate the abilities of others because of their high trust, optimism, and confidence in others around them. That's nice, though, isn't it? You've got confidence in others. That's nice. Started off badly.
Nice. Well, I mean, we did start off this podcast with you going, I'm going to hammer you in this podcast. So that's how it started off. But I'm a persuader. That's what I want to do.
You're
I
an
want to
extremely
persuade
outgoing
people.
and social person. You tend to make friends easily, and you like to have fun with others.
There they go.
You want to make commitments even when you're unable to keep them. That's both of us, to be fair.
Yeah, but as well, we talk about this, like the magpie effect, like, so because Adam and I are both quite high eyes, that sometimes we'll be like, oh, that's shiny over there, and we have to be so good at going, write it down, but we never
write
it down. We do. We are getting better at writing stuff down. But the problem is running your own organisation. So within the realms of the day job, there are things that you have to do. We don't have those rules or regulations because we can go, don't have to do that, which is dangerous sometimes.
You need to make sure you've got people around you that do that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, that's why I outsource my accounts. Absolutely, I can run my own books. I'm not stupid, so I could do it. But it exhausts me. I don't enjoy it. And I'm just like, oh, it's boring. I don't want to do that. So why would I do something that doesn't bring me fulfillment? It's like when you said that I said at the start of this, I do a job that I love. So standing up, delivering talks, keynoting at conferences, being in front of people, talking is absolutely brings me joy. I know it probably scares the bejesus out of some people, but that's what brings me joy. So when you're in a business, when you understand people's personalities, you can also understand their motivators. So if I was doing things like this, anyone that was yellow, I'd be thinking, I'm not going to get them to go and look through that spreadsheet and find me the faults, because they'll leave. You've got to give people the things that bring them joy and motivate them. Otherwise, people leave organisations because they go, it's a bit even like how you manage people. Lou, you can't manage everyone with Big Lou personality, because Big Lou personality doesn't work for the blues and the greens of this world.
Well, I've got something on that. The absolutely gorgeous, beautiful Lou is motivated by flattery, praise, popularity, and acceptance.
It's true. It's a true story. But that's what I mean. It's like it is. I like a badge. I like people to go, well done. I do. I like a badge. That human being, but also I'm aware of that as well, and I'm also aware that sometimes I have to go. I can't be like, oh my god, it's about me, everybody look at me, it's about me, because then you are a knob, and I don't want to be a knob. So I am very acutely aware of myself. Like even this morning me and Adam were having jokes about it, and he's like, send me your personality profile, and I was like, not all heroes wear capes, Adam, that's what mine says. So we have jokes about it because you're really aware of it. Like Adam is like, sometimes I'm like, you're so passive, it's just irritating me.
Yeah. But that's who I am, Louise.
And it irritates, but I can go, and he goes, well, you're being too aggressive, and I'm like, let's have a time out then.
So this will be, so you both got yellow. So when you're both in your yellow eye space, and you're both being outgoing, people focused, influence, you're just gelling. But your second profile, Lou, is the D dominant red style, and Adam, you go green S steadiness, and the red and the green will have conflict. So if you're together in your yellow style, it just gels, it just flows. But if Adam's in his green and Lou's in her red, absolutely, you need to take time out, because Lou's going to be wanting to move things on and do this kind of hand gesture, like, come on, Adam, quick, speed up. And Adam's like, whoa. No, don't.
I try.
don't. And then,
I try and slow Louise down a lot. I'm always trying to go, hang on, Lou, just calm down. Let's think about what we did last week rather than think about what we've now got to do in 3 weeks' time.
He also, but also you do it in a better. You manage me quite well in the way that he'll go, I can't think at that pace, and it makes me feel stressed.
I'm flattering you by saying you're such a quick thinker. You're so wonderful in everything that you do. However, I'm not as good as you, Louise.
That's not what you're. No, that's not. Well, that isn't the motivator for me. Don't be that person, Adam Carter. That's not the motivator for me. Is I don't want to make you feel bad. So by you saying that, I'm like, oh God, I'm making him feel stressed. I don't want you to feel stressed just because of who I am. So that's a motivator for me. It's not the flattery. Thank you very much.
Vic, I feel that this is like a therapy session. This is all we're just having is an absolute therapy session. It's wonderful. Thank you.
But it's
how
what
much
you
do I owe
just said
you?
there, though. No, but what you have said there is correctly. It's like while Lou loves the thanks and praise, all of that, she actually has a fear of rejection because her yellow is high. And so by you saying that she's stressing you, she's like, oh my God, Adam's not liking me at the moment. I need to stop because I want Adam to like me again. I don't want to upset Adam. So she's gone from red, then she's flipped over to her green, and you then probably go yellow. Sorry, she's gone from her red to a yellow, and then Adam, you've probably gone from your green to your yellow, and then you're back in your joint zone of yellowness. You just then have to realise that sometimes chit-chatting away doesn't get the job done.
No. I have to say, for example, I've got about 15 questions that I was supposed to ask you, Vic. And I haven't asked a single one of them right now. And I do that through all our podcasts. I set it up, I script the beginning, I do the bios, I do all that kind of stuff, and then by the time I get to talking, I'm just in chat mode, and I forget about all the other things that I was supposed to ask, and I'm just talking now.
Can I? Right. So whilst we just did a little bit of my personality profile, can I just read a little bit of Adam's? Just so people can see.
I don't think there's any need. I think it just says that he's a wonderful person. I think that's all it says.
Advisors can be overly tolerant and patient with those who are non-producers in the workspace because of an overwhelming desire to maintain a healthy and nurturing environment, which is when I'm like, Adam,
it's lovely,
kick it up. Yes, it is.
It's a beautiful thing to have, beautiful characteristic.
It is, because there's never any ag. You won't have ag unless you're really pushed. You have to be really pushed for you to then you'll be like, ooh, been told off.
But sometimes you have to be aware as well, Adam, that if you're working with a Lou who's in a red mode, that actually that kind of pace and that kind of style could come across as a bit passive aggressive, because it's just like, oh. Is Adam saying yes to all of this? But I know he's not going to do it, because in order for Adam to actually just get some peace and quiet, he'll just agree. Yeah, I'm just going to agree. Do you know what? I'm just going to agree, and I'm going to just shut you up. It's easier.
It is passive like that sometimes, because it is passive. Or it's just like, dismissive.
I'm so sorry, Louise, for being dismissive.
But like,
I will try harder in the future.
Oh, Adam, I love you with all of my being. You know that. Like, literally, your greatest fear is loss of social acceptance. That chimes. But mine's similar as well. But this is what I mean. But because we've done a lot of work on this, and we use it in some of our other training stuff we do around ensuring that you're providing an inclusive services to business, because it's about that communication. So having that awareness of yourself when you're talking to customers or to anybody, or consumers or whomever we're talking to, is having an understanding that whilst we might think, and I like candid, direct approaches because there's no room for interpretation. I'm not questioning, do they like me? Do they not? What is the situation? I'd rather somebody was just like direct and I didn't have to read the room. But not everybody communicates like that. And it's having an awareness about when that's appropriate and when that's not, isn't it? To ensure that you bring people along. But also when we're talking about businesses supporting consumers, communicating in a way that people understand and aren't instantly put off by.
Yeah, so they always say that they treat others how you wish to be treated. And when it comes to our values, absolutely. But when it comes to communication, no, communicate with others how they wish to be communicated with. But generally, if you're doing something and you've no idea the audience, you don't know who's in the audience. You don't know, is it a load of D's or I's or S's or C's? So you have to make sure that when you communicate, it appeals to everyone. And that's the tricky part. It's a bit like an email communication. Don't put all of the detail in the email communication. Put enough in there that satisfies the D's, make it fun enough for the I's, make it sure it's engaging for everyone and takes everyone on the journey for the S's. And for the blues that want the detail, the C's, just add an attachment with all the detail on it. They'll read it, but the others won't.
Yeah, it's simple. When you say it like that, it's really simple, but lots of people don't do it.
No, because people don't understand their personality. So this, to me, is the fundamentals of any business. You have to understand. We talk about diversity in the workplace, but you've got to understand the diversity of your personalities before you can even think about how I'm going to communicate with them, how I'm going to manage them, how I'm going to motivate them. What am I going to give them to do? Are they in the right job? Does it bring them joy? We spend so much time working. We have to make sure that we're all doing something that brings us joy.
I love that.
Agree. It is absolutely right. You've got to be able to enjoy it. We are sadly coming to the end of the podcast. I haven't asked a single one of my questions, which is very upsetting. But
not a shock though, Ads.
It's also not surprising. That's very, very true. Very, very true. Just in terms of kind of finishing up, you think how would a business or a person go about getting their personality profile done?
Just get in contact with me via queenofbehaviours.com, or my email's on there, my mobile's on there. You can just reach out, and then I charge £55 plus VAT for a profile. But just doing a profile, you need to have some coaching with it or anything. And there's loads of other places out there that you can get it from. But just get in contact and start the conversation.
Very much recommend the profile and the session that goes with it, because it really does help you to understand exactly who you are and who everyone else is as well, I think.
And how you communicate better with those people in your team. Like it's really important to have that understanding and that you need. Like we've said before, that our team, when we've had this done before, it's a real mix of people. There's nobody that's got the same as me. And actually that works from that perspective. But I've got lots of people that are much better at the detail than I am, which is fortunate, or we'd be in a terrible state.
Well, you want freedom from many rules and regulations, Louise. That's what you want.
I don't like the rules and the regulations. Like with Vic, they're just there for guidance, just in the background. Don't need them. Whatever.
And Louise, I think that is great, because you do need regular compliments for achievements.
Oh, you love me, Adam Carter, so you can't help it.
Absolutely right. And I'm never allowed to tell you what to do, apparently. I should never ignore your ideas or your accomplitments.
You don't. Well, sometimes
and I should never
you
interrupt. Oh, sorry.
No, but what's great is the fact that you both recognise it, and you can have a bit of a joke about it, because understanding your DISC profile or any personality profile isn't an excuse for labelling people, putting people in boxes, or an excuse for bad behaviour. Going, well, you just that's just the way I am. Like, no. It is who you are, but have a little bit of a self-awareness. Take time to flex and adapt to the people that are around you, because not everybody needs my irritating eye.
It's absolutely great. I would recommend any business certainly to do it, but even on a personal level, I'd recommend the DISC profiling. We'll put links to Queen of Behaviours in the show notes, in the podcast notes below the line. Is that what if that's what they say? Vic, thank you.
Who says, Adam? Who says?
I don't know. I've maybe listened to how to create a podcast, and maybe that's what the kind of thing they say. I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Pay attention to that detail, no?
I tend to go, oh, well, that sounds good, and then I give up after 5 minutes. That's just generally who I am.
You've read half the book. You've read half that book.
I'm now an expert. Thank you very much.
Obviously.
I know enough. Vic,
that's
thank you
dangerous.
so much. I'm very aware that I don't. Vic, thank you so much for coming onto our podcast. Any final thoughts?
Just like I say, it's those three things of recognising, understanding, and respecting that we're all different, and it's not right or wrong. We all just have to get along with each other. It's what makes the world go round.
Absolutely. We're all different, and that's a beautiful, wonderful thing. We need to be all different.
We do.
Yeah.
And we need to understand the ripple effects of our own behaviours on others.
Thank you very much. Louise, anything from you?
No, I love this. I'm excited about this already. I'm just excited.
Talk for so long about it. It is fascinating.
It also is. I have to say that Vic, every time I meet with you, and just a real thank you for this, I always come away feeling massively energised by speaking with you. So thank you very much. And thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
Massaged my yellow personality.
As ever, Consumer Friend is here at consumerfriend.org.uk. Please like, subscribe, share, rate, review, help get our message out there. And thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Vic. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
And bye-bye, Lou.
Bye, Ads.
Thanks, bye.
This is Consumer Friend.